Okay. Hello.
You are muted by the host.
Oh, hey, Bill.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Oh,
Can you hear me? There's
yeah,
an echo.
there's an echo. Who's the owner, Ashley?
Not sure. They haven't
Somebody's
had their
on with the
video on
name
yet.
owner. Now it sounds like crickets.
Somebody has feedback.
Okay. Kathy, is that you?
So what's that feedback from? That's Terry.
Sounds like Terry. Is there people in the same room on Zoom?
Terry,
Might be
Yeah.
interfering with each other.
is there somebody else in your room also on Zoom?
Yes. Pauline.
That's what it is.
And Kathy.
And Kathy.
I
So
can
all
turn
three of
on.
you are in the same room?
Let me turn on.
If we just mute two of them,
Mute me.
So
I don't have to.
mute Paula and Kathy for now. Pauline and Kathy.
Right, because I'm not going to talk.
Okay. Terry, talk now.
Okay. There's still an echo. It's coming from your phone, Kath.
Yeah, usually can't be in the same room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens.
I'll just listen.
No, Kathy, you have to listen from Terry's iPad.
I'm going to. I'm leaving. I'm done.
Go sit next to Terry. You two guys can be
Okay.
together.
I'm here. I can hear.
Are the other members of the board on?
I see Mr. Hepner is there, Councilman Hepner.
Where?
Oh, there he is.
Where's my recorder?
Hello, Chris Finley here.
Right out of the way. That's perfect.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can I put my name down? Hi, Bill. Can I put my name down for publicly heard?
Yep, Ashley will put you down.
And that happens at the end of the meeting.
Correct.
Thank you.
This one's working? This is where it's coming from. So you're right there in front of it.
Did you see her?
Well,
Yeah.
Pauline, what'd you name your kid? What did you name your kid?
hello, Laura.
Changed your name.
Hi.
Councilman Rose, how are you?
Mine is a bee's wing.
Is the squirrel with you tonight?
The squirrel's around, yeah. I'm trying to talk him into coming down there and talking to your red squirrels around your office.
There's only one red squirrel left.
Yeah, I know. I had him in the parking lot, but I couldn't accelerate fast enough.
Hello, Maria Elena.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
Good. Here we go. Gallery view. Hello, everybody.
We're waiting on Reggie. Is it 7 o'clock yet?
Reggie's coming in right now.
Hold on, we can't hear. Michelle just texted me and wanted to know if we could hear her.
Put my hand down.
Oh, I don't think she's on anymore.
Let me just text her back and then I'll start the meeting. Sign back in. Okay, so I'm going to get the meeting rolling. Call to order the business meeting, September 22nd, meeting of the Woodstock Town Board. And the first thing I was going to do was have Michelle give a presentation, but if she's not back on, we'll start with Terry. So Terry, the floor is yours. Oh, actually, just let me note that we have the press online today. We have Felicia Kasich of Woodstock 104.1 FM. And we have, where'd he go? Nick Henderson from Hudson Valley 1. And Michelle, you're back on, but you're green for some reason. Are you muted?
She's got a background on.
A background
She's
on?
not muted, but I can't hear.
We can't hear you, Michelle. No. There's a background on me. Oh, you're muted. Now, no, still nothing.
She's not speaking.
I wonder if her audio settings, the volume isn't turned up.
Yeah, is it possible your mic is off? Michelle, is it possible that your mic is off on your device?
Also, just make sure that you allow the computer to use your microphone for Zoom. There should have been something that popped up in the top left.
Hey, Ashley, why don't you
Yeah.
call her on the cell phone? Mute yourself and call her on the cell phone, see if you can talk her through it. In the meantime, I'll start with Terry. Okay, Terry, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks. I want to say hi to everybody and thanking
Hello.
you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. I'm hoping to do an overview of where the task force, what we've done, what we're doing, and what we hope to do. And as you know, everybody, the Woodstock Cemetery Task Force was created by our town supervisor, Bill McKenna, in April 2018, following the transfer of the cemetery from the Woodstock Cemetery Association. Present members of the task force are Donnie Allen, Pauline Krishamanga, Irene DeGraff, Bruce Eckert, Bob Gordon, Debbie Hasty, Ken Keefe, me, and our board liaison, Richard Hebner. We've accomplished much since 2018. The first thing we did was contact the Division of Cemeteries to inquire about the funds that were available for repairing monuments. I thought it was a separate fund, but I found out that it's part of the total funding available for needs of abandoned cemeteries. And this is when I learned about Joe Ferranini, whom I'll talk about later. We then compiled a list with Bill's assistance of what was needed in the cemetery and proceeded to assist Bill with obtaining 2 bids for each need. One of the items he obtained bids for was the oldest section, identified on the cemetery map as Old Middle of the cemetery. Joe Ferranini, who is a preservationist, was here at least 2 times pro bono, once to assess need and to instruct us on how to identify the needs of each monument. For instance, the monuments that only he could repair, those that were questionable, and the monuments he could teach us and other volunteers to repair. So a few of us spent a lot of time using different colored flags to identify each category of every monument. The second time Joe visited, he checked our flags and made the final decision for each flag tombstone. He took pictures of each one and assessed the cost of the project. We have this on a DVD. The town then submitted a grant request to the Division of Cemeteries and included all the necessary bids. I believe this was submitted last April, right, Bill? Bill and I would call Len Breen at the Division of Cemeteries periodically to follow up on our grant request, and eventually learned that our grant would not be considered for the fiscal year 2019-2020. There was no money, but we remain hopeful, and our hope paid off. As many of you know, we were approved for a grant of approximately $210,000 earlier this year. The town of Woodstock received approximately $55,000 of the grant money. Bill then asked the task force to prioritize items in the grant. Road repair and attention to dangerous trees are at the top of our list. Consequently, Mike Reynolds and his fantastic highway department were involved in these projects. Sadly, after COVID-19 hit, Bill was notified that the remainder of our grant money was stalled. There is no indication if and when we will receive any more funds for our projects. Our other accomplishments include revising the cemetery rules and regulations. Before we did this, we perused several rules and regulations of other cemeteries. We also reviewed and updated burial costs. Bill asked for our help with sections F and G of the cemetery. Without going into detail, 3 of the task force members spent considerable time doing what Bill had asked, in addition to making corrections on the map. We decided that there needed to be a better sign at the entrance of the cemetery. Thankfully, the marvelous Geezer Corps designed and placed the sign as we had requested. In an attempt to identify more open space for burials, last summer we contacted Dr. John Rayburn, who had done sonar penetration in the African American Cemetery in Kingston. He came with 2 students and spent 8 hours measuring and doing sonar penetration of several areas of the cemetery on a very hot day, right, Richard? Trying to ascertain if these areas might be suitable burial sites. After analyzing, printing out images of what he had obtained via sonar penetration, Dr. Rayburn came back to explain what he had found. With him was Dr. Joseph Diamond, an archaeologist who was interested in the composition of our soil. To get more conclusive information regarding these areas, we need to ask these gentlemen to return so we may finish the project by having some areas surveyed and marked as possible grave sites. What we are doing, we are raising funds. There are things that the grant money would not fund, such as the wrought iron fence and gate, landscaping, and any beautification projects of the cemetery. So not only do we need funds, we also need volunteers from our community to help us. Presently, we are extremely fortunate to have someone in our community has stepped up and volunteered to scrape, prime, and paint the wrought iron fencing and gate. And I believe by my watch, they're probably just about finished for today. We, the task force, wish to thank Vince and Diana Christofora and their small army of volunteers of many ages for the beautiful work they're doing with the fence and gate. And in thanking people, we'd like to thank Shay Cox for keeping the cemetery so beautifully groomed. Our plans for the future. We need section markers for each section of the cemetery. We'd like to have a map illustrating where sections of the cemetery are. Also signs alerting people that dogs are not allowed in the cemetery. There are some people that do not see that sign as they walk in. And we'd like to continue with raising funds in the event that our grant money absolutely disappears. Projects that the grant was to fund but will still need to be addressed include the stone pillars, the maintenance shedded crypt, the chain link fence, monument repair in the old middle section, a grave heater, and a new mower. Now, our goal tonight is to request that our task force become a committee. If we were to become a committee, a town committee, we could possibly have contact or interaction with individuals who have purchased a plot in our cemetery. For instance, doing a follow-up to thank them, go over the rules and regulations or any concerns they might have. A cemetery committee would put us on a level of importance with other town committees. We would have full access to the town board. We do not know what the future holds, so we'd like to know that instead of disappearing as task forces, because of their nature, usually do, the committee will continue on as an integral part of the town. I will end by saying our cemetery is not just a place where people have buried their loved ones, but is also a testament to Woodstock history and the families and individuals who have contributed to the town's story and vibrancy. And I'd like to quote a statement by William Gladstone. Show me the manner in which a nation or community cares for its dead, and I will measure with mathematical exactness the tender mercies of its people, the respect for the laws of the land, and their loyalty to high ideals. Thank you for this opportunity to address you. We hope you will look favorably on our task force becoming a committee. Thank you.
Nice job, Terry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is that noise we got going here?
I don't know.
I'll stop. Thank you, Ashley.
There's still echo somewhere. So Terry, I thank you and the committee. You guys have all done a great job. You've been very helpful in getting myself and the town wrapped around taking over the cemetery and dealing with it day to day, and I appreciate that. As you mentioned, Vince and his wife Diane have done a beautiful job on that fence, put a lot of time and effort into it. And we get compliments on a weekly basis about how nice it's looked. I can't tell you how often I hear it's never looked better. It hasn't looked this good in 20, 30 years.
Right,
So.
you're right. Yes. So thank you.
So we will give you we'll talk about it over the next week or so with the board and
Right.
come back with a conclusion.
I
Let me
appreciate
just,
that.
Bill, if I could, go ahead, Laura, if you want.
I just want to say, share my thanks as a board member also for the cemetery committee. I know how much confusion and how many unknowns there were when you picked it all up, and having things all sorted out and figured out and improved. And I will say the highway department did a wonderful job with that paving that was on your list. Let's
Absolutely.
get that road
Yes.
paved. I took a ride in there, and that was wonderful. So thanks to the committee, and as you say, thanks to the Christophers and thanks to Shay, who I saw when I stopped by a couple of times to take a peek at those pillars. And Shay is certainly very very dedicated to making sure things are right there. So thanks to you guys for all that you have done.
You're welcome. It's just a labor of love is what it is.
Exactly, and I just want to echo all those compliments, Terry. This is an integral part of our town, and the town now owns it, and it needs the oversight that it deserves, and it's really gotten a lot of improvement. I've seen this task force working, and they work hard. They're very dedicated. They're very professional, and I think they deserve, obviously, we should be pushing them forward as a committee because as Terry said, over time, we need this public input. We need this public activity and volunteerism to keep another eye on it. Not that anything's going really wrong here. It's just that it's very important to have that public input. And also, I know this task force, these people are working for a couple of years now, I guess, and almost.
It is 28
and I
years.
think if we set it up as a committee, we will also be able to, not everybody's going to stay on the task force forever here. We'd have a system whereby interested people interested in preserving this important legacy in our town will move in and out of a committee, just like all the other committees work. And I think we really need to support these folks because they've been supporting us. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Just to touch back to something that was said a little earlier about the paving. So there is a little bit more paving that needs to be done. Bless you, Nick. From the loop out to Rock City Road. And they did not finish that early on because we were talking about what we were going to do with the piers. Those two big piers are going to come down now. Eventually they'll be reinstalled a little wider as we had agreed. But in the meantime, they will be coming down in the next week or so, and Mike and the highway guys will be finishing off the paving. I know one other thing they wanted to do, there's some nice bluestone curbing in there that they're actually going to dig up and stockpile someplace for some future use somewhere in town. So they're not just going to pave over that bluestone. So I anticipate in the next week or two, they'll be getting that finished as well.
And will the shed be done this before snow flies?
They're scraping away at it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I haven't been up there this week. So.
On behalf of the generations that I have buried in there, I want to say thank you very much for giving a damn about it. And it really does look good. And I'm sure all of my ancestors are pleased. Thank you.
It was our pleasure.
Okay.
They're pleased with you?
No, they've never been pleased with me. In fact, I got a letter from them saying I should change my name. But
Did they give any suggestions?
yeah, but I can't say it on Zoom.
Okay. Fair enough.
Nice job, Terry. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Terry.
much.
And with
Appreciate it.
that, I will, Michelle, are you on now?
Her mic is muted.
So
I
if
have
you,
her on her cell phone, so let me just unmute that for her.
Yep, she was unmuted for a minute. There you
How
go.
about-
Yeah, but we can't hear her through her computer. So Michelle can hopefully. is your cell
Michelle, you
phone-
just have to unmute your cell.
But I see both phones here have the mute on by Zoom. So Ashley, have you unmuted the cells on Zoom?
I already hit ask to unmute. She has to do it
Oh,
on her
she
end
has
now.
to do it. I see. She has to do it. Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yep. It's a relatively new Zoom function is the host cannot unmute somebody. You can only ask them to unmute. So it would be nice if you could unmute her, but I get it. You can't.
hey, Michelle, call in at the office and I'll put you on.
I'm done. I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna.
There's an echo. There's an echo, but she's here.
There are two sources going?
But then I'll let you. Go ahead, Michelle.
Now can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys. Sorry, this is my first time on Zoom. Oh wait, no, Jackie had left something first to be read first.
Okay, so hold on. I'm going to turn over the seat here to Lynn. You're up, Lynn.
Hi, everybody. Jackie isn't here tonight, but she wrote something as a preface to what Michelle is going to be talking about. And in her words, as we all know, COVID-19 has affected all of us in many ways, some the same and some are different. New York City has a major backlog of marriage license requests. They have stopped issuing licenses through the end of the year. This has caused a large influx of marriage license requests in our office, people coming from Long Island, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Westchester, etc. When people travel 2 to 4 hours to get a license, they are anxious also to get married after the 24-hour wait period in town so they can go back home with their license in hand. We have been asked if we know of officiants who can officiate the marriage with short notice. Also, can it be in Spanish? And can we recommend a female officiant? And that's what Michelle is going to talk to you about now. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Michelle, the floor is yours.
Well, this is basically the same thing that Jackie heard. I hadn't heard this, what Jackie had written, so I'm sorry if it sounds repetitive. But since the pandemic started, our office has been inundated with couples requests. We issue their marriage licenses. We get at least 5 phone calls a day asking about the requirements and the availability our office can provide them. To this date, we have issued 50 plus licenses, when our average over the past 3 years has only been 40 in the entire year. The town clerk's office has always had an open door policy, meaning if we can help you, we will absolutely will. This was the main reason our office didn't close while all other town clerk's offices in the area did during all these trying times. Couples have come to us from all over the state. We've even had people come to us from Canada. And the first words out of their mouth as soon as they walk in is thank you. By becoming an appointed officiant, I could facilitate the whole process for these couples. A lot come up just for the weekend and want to go back home as a married couple. There is a 24-hour waiting period between when they come in, get their license with us, and then have the actual ceremony. Our office could basically deliver the full package. Now you might be thinking, but there's already 2 judges in the town who do this. But as Jackie mentioned in her little blurb, we have also had a lot of people request or ask us if there's a woman officiant in the town. We've seen an increase also of people asking us for possibly a bilingual officiant. So right here, you got 2 for 1. So truthfully, I really think that if you decide to appoint me, I would be greatly appreciated, and it would be a true benefit to the town. I'm excited to embark on this new journey if you so see fit. I'm a little nervous, but I'm very confident that it's something that is going to be awesome for the town and for the town clerk's office.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation. Any of the board have any questions, issues, thoughts?
Would there be a stipend then? So just in terms of, is there a salary difference? So is the appointing something that would be done within the regular work day with the current salary? Or are we talking about a stipend of sorts?
So we actually contacted the Silvic town clerk, who's the only town clerk in the area who actually performs wedding ceremonies also. And what they do there is they charge between $75 and $100 for the actual ceremony. Now that doesn't go to me, that goes to the town. And then just like Jackie does with her vital records, depending on how many copies of marriage licenses she receives, and at the end of the month she gets a voucher and presents it to Pam, I would do the same thing. But there would be no stipend in my actual pay.
So what you're saying, and there's a bit of an echo, so I think I heard I heard almost everything. Let's put it that way. So the proposal is that we as the town of Woodstock would charge $75 to $100 for the service, which sounds very reasonable. And then based on the number of marriages you performed, then there would be some portion of that that would be to you for thanks for you for doing it.
I think she'd get all of it.
Yeah.
Are you get all of it? Okay. So for every.
The town clerk gets all the town clerk fees.
Oh, I see. So for every service that Michelle performed, she would be getting this money, but which is actually okay with me. And the benefit is, since Michelle is there in the clerk's office usually anyway, you don't have to call somebody in. It would seem to be more convenient for people that want the ceremony done because Michelle's right there anyway.
Absolutely. Another question that was brought up to me was, like, if somebody comes up on a Friday and they're here for the weekend, they have that 24-hour waiting period in order to wait. So I would have to perform the ceremony either Saturday or Sunday. Even though it's outside of my hours, it's still a service that I would be providing as the town clerk's office.
Bill, maybe you know, or what legally or technically does the town have to do to institute this?
It's a simple resolution.
That's it?
Be it resolved to appoint Deputy Town Clerk Michelle Severett, marriage officer for the year 2020.
I'll second that.
Are we
If that
done?
was a real resolution, I don't even know at this point.
Yeah, I'm looking at our agenda for it. I didn't see it there.
It's not on there, but I do have one. I pulled one from when we did Jeremy.
Okay, so are you really making the motion, Bill? Is this live?
I don't want to cut off conversation. If people have questions, if we want to have a vote today, we want to wait till the next meeting. You guys tell me what you want to do. I can make that a real nice resolution.
I'm good with it, as long as I can be a flower girl.
You'd be cute. Yeah, I'm totally okay with it. I'm personally totally okay with it.
Reggie? You're
It's on
muted.
mute. Reggie's on mute.
Mute yourself, Reggie.
I think it sounds great. I'm definitely in.
There you go.
Councilman Helpner?
I'm good.
Okay, Lauren, you seconded that.
I did.
Lauren? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, congratulations.
Thank you guys. I won't let you down.
Felicitaciones, Michelle.
Just let me write this resolution up so we have it for the minutes. You have it?
So Michelle, one more question. Do you need any training or certification, or are you all
I was
set?
actually going to say that now, yes. So once again, since Holly, which is the town clerk from Utah, but she's the only one who's done this, I did request that she sent me any information that she has. There is, or there used to be, an online class, and I believe both used to give it. But with all this craziness that's going on, we haven't found one yet. So I won't be performing them until I do have that course under my belt.
Yeah.
But I have gone online and I have printed out a lot of information on how to perform it, what my responsibilities are, what I have to say, how I have to get to know the couples beforehand. So I do have like a little folder with all of that information in it, but I don't know yet what course or what class I can take, and if there are any available at this point.
Yeah.
I can get you ordained by Our Lady of Correct Pronunciation.
Would she ordain me too? I could use all the help I could get.
You know, for the right money, she's pretty liberal.
I'll probably do a lot better in Spanish.
I got a quick question. Wouldn't this have to be submitted to what, the state, the county? I mean, Michelle's name ends up on a certificate.
I do have to if you guys appoint me tonight, I do have to let Nina Pastapak know tomorrow.
Okay,
I
that's
mean, you're going to use your real name?
That's my only name.
Big mistake.
But yes, I will have to send something. I'll probably have to send her a copy of the resolution also.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yep.
Okay, any more questions on this?
Another thing is that I can only perform weddings in the town of Woodstock.
Yeah, correct. Not outside.
Correct.
All right.
Just don't dress as Elvis.
Well, what if they request it?
They request. Come
That
on.
is part of it. I have to find out what the ceremony is.
Spanish-speaking female version of Elvis.
El Visto.
All right, with that, I'll move on to some resolutions.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
Michelle.
good night.
You too. And you know what? Thank you to all the clerks. They've done a great job at keeping the office open this whole time. And we have become a destination for people who want marriage licenses because they know they can get them here and nowhere else.
Yep.
You know, recently other towns have started to reissue, but for the longest time, we were the only show in the Hudson Valley and I think New York City. So thank you for that.
My daughter tells me we made the Washington Post this morning.
Yes. So with that, be it resolved to accept the minutes for the meetings held on August 18th.
The Washington Post focused on the half-paved road on Tinker Street. That's what they're looking at.
You interrupted a resolution for that.
Yep.
That's what they talked about.
Go ahead.
Talked about our hot real estate market. Be it resolved to accept minutes for meetings held on August 18th and September 8th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And just to let Lynn know, I do have some, I think Lynn's probably still there with you, Bill, right? I did make some,
Right here.
yeah, I did make some marks on one of those, so.
Lynn, there'll be marks on one of them. Okay. Be it resolved to accept the town clerk's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be it resolved to authorize payment of audited vouchers in the amount of $275,374.49. For purposes of discussion, second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, and, you know, I did speak to all the council. There was one late voucher that came in. It is included in the total here. It's for the police car, which cost $347.17. Only Laura and I signed it, but I made each of the councilmen aware of that, and they can come in and just sign it tomorrow. So with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to authorize transfer sheet.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Whereas Woodstock Resolution 156-2020 authorized the transfer from the General Fund Vehicle Reserve .008 to the 2020 budget line A01640.20000 pursuant to a permissive referendum, and whereas the time to file and execute such permissive referendum has expired, now therefore be it resolved to transfer from the General Fund Vehicle Reserve .008 up to the sum of $27,500 for the purchase of a 2020 Nissan Leaf.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I hear the councilman might get a ride in the Leaf soon.
We're working on that.
You just need a chauffeur. I think you got that too.
We have that lined up too, yeah.
Whereas Woodstock Resolution 157-2020 authorized the transfer from the code to update reserve .026 to the 2020 budget line A1460.40000 pursuant to permissive referendum. Whereas the time to file and execute such permissive referendum has now expired. Now therefore be it resolved to transfer from the codes update reserve .026 up to $5,000 to fund code upgrades.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Bill, a quick question.
Yep.
Didn't we pass something? Didn't we do something similar to this? This is an additional upgrade? I thought we had previously done this. But
No, I think we talked about it and we had the resolution to
I thought I saw it in the minutes. That's why I got confused. Okay.
I think that was the resolution to set this.
To do the permissive referendum.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right.
But no, we haven't done it yet. And
Ashley's shaking her head, and I believe her. Yep.
thank you, Ashley.
Well, we got to believe somebody.
Where's the squirrel?
I believe the squirrel. He's never lied to me.
Well, that's good. Maybe you should bring him down here and let him talk to the ones running around in the attic here.
I offered to bring him down there and talk to your squirrels. Tell them what's going to happen.
Whereas in July 2020, the highway superintendent went out to bid for one road widener AVR attachment for a Bobcat loader. And whereas only one bid was received, and whereas the following bid was opened on August 17th, 2020 at 11 a.m., which read, one new and unused 2020 road widener AVR 3-foot attachment for a Bobcat loader from Tracy Road Equipment, 115 Railroad Avenue, Albany, New York, 12205 for $51,400. And therefore be it resolved, the Woodstock Town Board authorizes the highway superintendent to purchase above noted equipment from Tracy Road Equipment.
I'll second that.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
I'm glad it's new and unused.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That was the way the bid came. I'm guessing that, they get new ones that they might put out to test, and have a few hours on it. So I guess that's what that meant.
Hey, I got an idea. Maybe we can finish the other half of Tinker Street.
You need to call the governor on that one, all right?
I just may.
Well, we watched them doing the shoulders up in Jewett one day when we went through, and the amount of manpower they had doing that with wheelbarrows, and
no more wheelbarrows.
It's this will pay for itself in manpower very quickly.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. But speaking of paving, though, I did want to ask. I saw there was new paving in front of house. How many crosswalks are going back in?
They're working on the study as we speak. What I said to them is that we were waiting to hear back from them on what they thought the prudent thing to do was. And, if they feel that 2 is better than 1, so be it. And I told them they should paint the 2 lines. And if they feel that one is problematic, then they should make that recommendation. So that's where we're at. And I suspect they're going to suggest that we leave the 2 in. But he did say he would give me an email to confirm that and get back to me.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that's where we're at. Be it resolved to accept the resignation of Adam Gardner as Youth Center Recreation Aide part-time effective August 19th, 2020.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has curtailed activities at the youth center, causing the town to temporarily close the center, and whereas the pandemic has caused additional duties for the custodial department, therefore be it resolved to engage Youth Center Patrick Acker as temporary, full-time, grade 2 labor at an hourly rate of $18.17 effective September 15th, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Purpose of
Aye.
discussion.
Okay. Little late.
Well, I'm sorry, but
That's okay. Go ahead.
should Patrick be able to do some other things virtually with the youth center? Is that going to be possible?
Absolutely. The money, his line is in there, and if we can start to open up when we feel comfortable with that, so be it. And, I am going to reduce the youth center budget for next year by some degree, but I intend to fully fund him so that at some point, whenever this is all over, we can swing right back into that. Any other questions?
I'd just like to add too, Bill, I know we talked about this, but I would like us to at least explore with Patrick, even if we can't have the center fully open, even if they're virtual opportunities, which I'm not sure, really sure how many young people after doing school via, Zoom will want to do some kind of activity, virtually. Or even if there's something that's an outdoor activity of some sort, obviously, as we move towards warmer weather. I just want to make sure we have the option and that it's just not that's off the table for the. So, I know we discussed that.
Yeah, and in fact, let me just state, the first option I had was that we would lay him off. The 2 downsides to that is, he doesn't get full salary. It's only partial payment, and he would lose his health benefits. My thinking here, knowing that, the custodial department could use a little bit more help because they are doing more cleaning and wiping down and stuff, is that we can keep Patrick engaged and he would be ready to immediately, like with an hour's notice, swing back into the youth center. So that's really part of my, the grant.
I just want to make sure, I think we're saying the same thing, Rich, that the option is open.
Yeah.
That as we move forward. Yeah.
I think and that's what I'm saying. We're in agreement here. Like I say, within an hour's notice, he could swing in to reopening the youth center and being back in that position. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with Central Hudson to add a street light on Mill Hill Road between Deming Street and Pine Grove, and to remove a street light on for purpose of discussion.
Second.
I think it's a wonderful resolution.
So do I. I wrote it. I think it is too.
I think some things are better left in darkness.
So the second part of it, I think we're all in agreement about Deming and Pine Grove on that one, the adding of that. The other is that we've had for a long time, had discussions with a few of the neighbors on Mountain View to remove one. And I think if the neighbors are in agreement there and want it removed, I think this is the time to do it. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to ratify the contract with the United Public Service Employees Union term to run from January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2022. This is the highway workers contract. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions? I sent you all the points of the agreement. Nothing? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, hold on, Richard.
No, I think it's a good agreement. I'm glad everybody finally got together on this, and some of the things got dropped and reworked, and I think going forward, it's a good template moving forward.
I do too. I think
Even though it's the last meeting,
so. Okay, so one more time, all in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. Ashley, anybody for public be heard? I know Chris
Yes,
Finley.
I have 3, starting with Chris Finley.
Okay. Is Chris on?
Done mute.
He's here. Oh, there he is.
Hi.
Chris,
Yeah.
you got your 2 minutes.
Okay, thanks, Bill. My name is Chris Finley, and I've lived in Woodstock for a little over 12 years now. And first of all, I'd like to thank all the members of the board there for doing such hard work during these difficult times. Thank you. And I'd like to especially thank Bill for personally delivering food to me, my family, and many members of my community during the lockdown. Thanks, Bill.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Chris.
I'll be talking tonight about my concern for the well-being of our less well-off here in the community. To be more precise, the homeless in our town. Before I begin, though, I'd like to offer my deepest condolences to my friend Peggy on the tragic circumstances of the death of her son Jeffrey Patterell recently. At the start of this pandemic, I was very concerned about the homeless here in town. So much so that I called Bill and Tamara Cooper at Family of Woodstock and shared my concerns. I was particularly concerned about the fact that Family of Woodstock had shut its doors to the public. The homeless in Woodstock are among the groups most threatened by the coronavirus, and compared to other people, a higher proportion of them have respiratory or cardiovascular illnesses, which increases the risk of being infected and reduce the chances of survival. Family of Woodstock helped the homeless in many ways. It offered shelter from the physical wear and tear produced by exposure to the elements. It helped with nutrition and hygiene. The stress of living on the streets was alleviated for many of the homeless just by walking into Family, having a hot drink, and someone to talk to. Family was a place to go and get free clothing for the homeless. A large percentage of our homeless are addicted to alcohol, and some are addicted to drugs. This will always weaken the body's immune system, putting the homeless at an added disadvantage in warding off the virus. Family was also a place where they could wash themselves. Very important during the COVID period. We've seen that there are many homeless sleeping rough here in Woodstock that won't go to shelters. They are deterred by the fact that people in them are packed together sleeping in close quarters, and the chances of dodging COVID seem better sleeping outside. They are also deterred by the fact that they cannot sleep in such places due to mental or emotional issues of living in such close quarters with complete strangers. Many times PTSD goes along with addiction or alcohol abuse. So over the last few months of COVID, particularly over the last 3 months, 3 men have died who were at one time homeless for a substantial period of time here in Woodstock. None of them died as a direct result of the disease, but I believe the isolation they experienced caused as a result of the lockdown may have just pushed them over the edge. And I believe the isolation was connected to the deaths. We are now facing into our first winter with the coronavirus. And I'm just concerned, has the town made any accommodation for the homeless here in town? Would the town be willing to allow them to utilize the community center in some way? Would the town consider the creation of our own homeless shelter here in town with private or public funds? Would the town be willing to work in collaboration with Family of Woodstock to accommodate our homeless in this coming winter?
You're coming up on 4 minutes, Chris, so I'm going to ask you to
Thank you.
wrap up.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Ashley, next.
Next, I have John Ludwig.
John?
Hi, thank you. I sent an email to the town board last week, and Bill, you and I spoke a little on the phone. What I sent was a quote from August 20th, when the library passed their resolution for the November 3rd bond. And their attorney gave some assurances, and the quote I sent you, I'm going to read it, it's very brief. The library's attorney said that the town's attorney, the bond counsel, has made it clear that they're going to want to have an agreement with us, that's the library, that they're not going to have a commitment to move forward, meaning move forward on the bond, until we, the library, can demonstrate a true ability to pay. And I'm wondering if you've discussed this with the bond attorney, and what would constitute a demonstration of a true ability to pay? That's one question. That's one important thing, I think. But also pay how much, because they've stated a number, 6.995 million, but that's a fluid number, and prices are going up. So how would you determine? What can you say about this? And I know you wanted the recording. I sent the recording, so you've heard the attorney say this. What do you have to say about this?
You know what I've spoken with, and the rest of the board haven't, but I've asked a couple of board members, and I'll now ask all the board members, if you have questions about this, I would like you to email them into me, or I can give you the bond counsel's email address. Let's get them get your questions, and then we can have a formal meeting with the council, and they can answer your questions. What they've implied to me is that they would write in, we have to do a resolution. If this bond resolution passes, we would do a resolution sometime after. And in that resolution, we would actually state the cost, the total cost, and they have set a total cost in a separate resolution of the 6,900,000.
6.995, yeah.
So that would be what we would set as a cap, and you know that we would the bonds money would come last. That they would do the fundraising and get the rest of the funds, and then we would go out to bonds for the balance of it.
Okay, that's new information. I didn't know that. I was assuming the bond money would. I think they're assuming the bond money would be released right away, because as you know, they've already spent some of it. They kind of went into debt at their last meeting. So.
No, and this is what maybe I wasn't clear the other day, but this is what I said to you, that and this is what our attorneys have said to their attorneys, is they need to have all the other funds in place, just like the town board does every time we do a project. Before we go out to bonds, we have, our bond resolutions will spell out exactly how we're paying for the project. We set the cap of the project, and then we say, whether we have a reserve and whether we're getting a grant, and, whether we're taking some from fund balance, and then the portion that we would raise for bonds. And so we would require them, it's fiscally prudent. You wouldn't go out to bonds without having the rest of the money in hands. You could get stuck with a half-finished project.
Yeah, it'll end up like the county jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I did talk to each board member privately about this, and I think we're in agreement. Although, listen, everybody gets.
Well, we're in agreement about, I think what we agreed upon, though, is we should be meeting with the bond attorney and get, I think we're all kind of new to this, and there's a lot of technicalities here, and I think it behooves us to obviously meet with legal counsel on this.
I absolutely agree with you, Richard. But again, I think it would be a more productive meeting if they had some of our questions beforehand.
Well, I have a question just as myself, not as a council person. Are we going to give $6 million to people that don't even know where their property lines are?
Well, it's going to be the public that will vote yes or no.
I guess it is. And I love a good democracy, so I'll go with it, but
Right.
it just seems a little odd to me.
Yes. And, I've been through a number of projects, Richard, but this is new to me too. I mean, mostly it's the town going out to bond for this. When I got the bond resolution, the referendum language, I was shocked that it didn't set the total cap in there, which is how we always do it. And apparently libraries don't have to operate in the same manner. They don't need to have that in there in the bond resolution. So they're just spelling out the bond. They're not talking about the other one.
Can you send that resolution out where the rest of us could look at it? Because is it written where yes means no and no means yes, or is it like a straightforward question?
Long, I can send it to you. Yeah.
That'd be great. Thank you.
You have it handy, John?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember. Ashley, do you remember who sent it to me?
I don't.
So what resolution, tell me again, what resolution, John, is it that you have?
So it's the language of the referendum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's on the library's website. I'll just send you a link to that document on the library's website.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, I would encourage you all to read it over the next week or so. And, again, formulate questions for the attorney and let's get them up to them, and then we can sit down and have a discussion about this.
Thank you.
All right. Ashley, one more, did you say?
There was, but Mark left.
Okay.
He's not in the meeting anymore.
Okay. Anything from the board?
Yeah, I had an announcement.
Mm-hmm.
So if now is a good time. So speaking of the library, as library liaison, just want to remind everybody that the library annual budget and trustee election is Thursday, October 1st. This is not the same as what we were just talking about, which is the November 3rd bond resolution. So when we go to vote on November 3rd, or whatever day you do vote, you might early vote for the presidential and election of other people. But in any event, there's a November 3rd vote for the bond, but I'm not talking about that. What we're talking about now is to make sure everybody knows that Thursday, October 1st is the library's annual budget and trustee election. Voting is at the library from 12 noon to 9 p.m. on October 1st. You can get absentee ballots at the library and fill them right out and hand them right back in again. So they do have absentee ballots if you prefer for the library vote. For the second year in a row, there is a zero tax levy increase. The budget itself is slightly increased, but it's not translating, but based on the monies available, it's not translating into a tax levy increase. So this is the second year in a row that our taxes will not go up to cover what we pay for the library. And the budget is over $28,000 below the New York State tax cap. The trustees on the ballot are Jeff Collins, who is an incumbent, and Linda Lover, who is going to be replacing Selma Kaplan. And there are 2 seats open and 2 people running. And so that's what's happening. October 1st, it's always healthy to vote. And October 1st, again, annual budget and trustee election for the library.
Thank you, Laura. Reggie, anything you want to add? Unmute yourself. It sounded funny. What did you say?
It's okay. It wasn't. I just wanted to announce, as everyone knows, the governor issued an executive order that all law enforcement agencies and villages and towns had to look at their policies and submit a proposal to address any potential changes. They've also sent us a document to serve as kind of a guide for each group. And our committee for Police Reform and Reinvention is meeting on Thursdays from 4 to 5. The meetings are open to the public, and if you are interested in attending, our town secretary, Ashley, you can email her, and she can send you a Zoom link. Is there anything else, Ashley, I should say about the Zoom link, or is that sufficient? They can just reach out.
Yep, either they can give me a call and give me their email address, or email me at info@woodstockny.org. It'll come straight to me and I can respond that way.
Great. So again, those are Thursdays from 4 until 5 p.m.
So I would also just mention to the press, Felicia, Nick, and Bill, I hope you can put in a word about this. We do want public participation. Reggie, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're looking at setting up a short survey for our residents.
Yes. Working on generating questions, and that will go out to the public. We're looking at the different forms that would go out in, because I know everyone won't have access to like Facebook or the internet. But actually, I will be reaching out to some of our folks in the media about kind of getting the word out about that. So.
Okay. Very good. Lauren, you or the squirrel have anything to say?
No, the squirrel's gone silent. He's down for the night, and I'm almost there, so I think we'll just let it go.
Fair enough. Councilman Hepner, it's the first time you smiled all night.
No, I've been smiling all along every time I mention Tinker Street.
That's true.
and the light. And so, boy.
He's been smiling ever since he took my 50 cents this afternoon.
I do want to thank Mr. Jim Hansen, Tom Unrath, Michael Drillinger, and Mr. Rose. People may not know, but there's a cemetery on Mink Hollow Road where our first supervisor is interred, and Revolutionary War captain Elias Hasbrook, and had fallen victim to storms and neglect over the years, and all those folks showed up last week and cleaned it up and made it more presentable. It's not just his grave site, but there's some family members in there, and technically the town owns it. So we're gonna have to work on some type of maintenance schedule once a year or something like that. But so
thank you to the Geezers for one more great job done. How many graves do you think are up there, Richard?
It's hard to tell, but there's probably maybe 10, maybe a dozen.
I was guessing a dozen, maybe somewhere in there.
And how big an area would you say?
It's very small. It's not even a quarter of an acre. It's very small. But a lot of the stones have been scattered now. And so it's hard to figure it out. But there's a lot of small stones which indicate either children or family members. So it's very hard to tell. But Captain Hasbrook's stone is the original ones now. There's people shouldn't get confused. There's a monument at the Woodstock Cemetery for Elias Hasbrook. He's not buried there. He's up in Mink Hollow, which used to be the center of Woodstock. People don't realize.
Really?
Yeah.
The economic
The
center.
road went over the mountain to Greene County up in that way, Mink Hollow, the Schwangunk. And yeah, that was the first meetings the first town board meetings without Zoom were held in Mink Hollow.
And now you'd hardly get a Zoom meeting out of Mink Hollow.
But here's the connect. See, all history connects. Okay. Our first supervisor, Elias Hasbrook, died in his second term while he was out squirrel hunting. I just wanted to bring it full circle.
Very interesting.
I'm going to cover the squirrel's ears because he don't want to hear this.
You might want to cover Bill's.
Well, we did dig the grave for him right next to Elias, right? You didn't tell him about that?
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
For the rest of you who aren't in on the joke, we have a little bit of a squirrel problem down here at the supervisor's cottage. And every once in a while I hear a call from the bookkeeper's office about a squirrel running through her office, or the office manager comes into my office and says he just came down the stairs and looked at me funny.
Yeah.
So we're on the hunt for 2 squirrels, red. Maria Elena, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yes, actually, just to let everyone know, I'm working on a fundraiser for the Woodstock Democratic Committee. The date we'll announce this week, where it's going to be an online streaming concert, and we have volunteers from our community, wonderful musicians who live here, who are lending their talents, and it'll just be, you know, like a premiere showing, and after that we'll open up to the public, but it'll be a fundraiser, so I'm excited. Well, I'll let everyone know this week when we're going to have it.
Excellent. Okay. So if nothing else, I will call.
Today is National Register to Vote Day, I believe. So if you're not registered to vote, register.
Okay. I'm registered. Felicia had a question here.
Yeah, on Rock City Road, I noticed by the community center, there's a Red Cross sign that says something like urgent need or something.
Oh, yes, there's a blood drive tomorrow at the community center. It started 12 o'clock, Lynn? I think, yeah, I think it's noon to 6. So if you do have time, you know, these are rough times right now and they can use all the help they can get. So if you have time and want to stop by, it's a very worthy cause.
Anything about the community center, otherwise, like rental or?
We'll talk after.
Okay, that's not.
Yes. Okay, with that, I'll call for adjournment.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good night, folks.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Night.